After 60, many people are told that weaker bones are the price of getting older. You keep pouring milk into your glass, adding cheese to your plate, and reaching for low-fat dairy because you were taught it would protect your skeleton. Yet your joints ache more, your balance feels less certain, and maybe a recent stumble or fall scared you more than you expected. It is easy to think this is just age catching up with you, but what if some very common dairy products are quietly working against your bones instead of helping them? In this video, we will look at how certain dairy choices can weaken bones after 60 and what to use instead so that the calcium you take in actually stays locked inside your skeleton. What your bones are really doing after 60. Let us begin by clearing up one big misunderstanding. Your bones are not dry, fixed sticks holding you up. They are living, changing organs that respond to everything you eat and everything you do. All day long, small cells are quietly dismantling old, tired bone, while other cells are laying down fresh, stronger bone in its place. When you were a child and through your younger adult years, the building team worked faster than the demolition crew, so your bones became thicker and more resilient with every decade. After 60, that balance starts to tilt. The cells that break down bone become more active, and the builders slow down. Hormone changes, less movement, smaller meals, and more time sitting all speed up this shift. At the same time, digestion is not quite as powerful as it once was. Many older adults make less stomach acid, absorb nutrients less efficiently, and take medicines that interfere with vitamin D, calcium, or magnesium. The result is that your bones may be getting less of the raw material and less of the hormonal support they need to stay dense. There is another side to this story. Your bones do not work alone. They are anchored to muscles and supplied by blood vessels. When you walk, climb stairs, or lift groceries, your muscles tug gently on your bones. That tug is like a message that says, "Keep this structure strong, we still need it." When you move less, that message grows quiet. Your skeleton quietly decides it can afford to lose some density. You may not notice the change until a simple trip or slip turns into a serious fracture. So when we talk about protecting your bones after 60, we are not just talking about avoiding falls or swallowing more calcium. We are talking about rebalancing that entire system. We want to give the building cells more support, to improve the delivery of minerals through the blood, and to send clear signals through movement that your frame is still needed. Dairy can help, but only if you choose it in a way that works with this living, responsive system instead of against it. You may already have seen this imbalance show up in real life. Perhaps you were told you have osteopenia or osteoporosis after a bone density scan. Perhaps you watched a friend or relative shrink in height or break a hip from a simple fall. These are not random events. They are the visible signs of years in which the breakdown side of bone remodeling has quietly been winning. The encouraging truth is that even now, your building cells are still present. When you change what you feed them and how you move, you can slow and sometimes partly reverse that loss. Your bones are listening, even if they feel silent. Why calcium alone is not enough anymore. For many years, the advice was simple. If you are worried about your bones, drink more milk and maybe take a calcium tablet. On the surface, this sounds reasonable. Bones do contain a lot of calcium, but inside the body, calcium is only one member of a much larger team. If you increase calcium without caring about the other players, you can easily end up disappointed or even create new problems. To move from your plate into your bloodstream, calcium needs help from vitamin D. Without enough vitamin D, your intestines can only pull a small portion of the calcium you eat into circulation. Once calcium is in the blood, it needs vitamin K2 to guide it into the skeleton instead of letting it drift into soft tissues like the arteries. Magnesium and several trace minerals help form the actual structure of bone, like the scaffolding and wiring inside a building. Protein provides the flexible framework on which minerals are laid down. After 60, many people slowly become low in one or more of these helpers, especially vitamin D and magnesium. Time indoors, thin appetites, and certain medications all play a role. So you might pour milk over your cereal, take a calcium supplement at lunch, and chew a flavored yogurt in the afternoon, yet still be sending mostly unaccompanied calcium into a system that cannot use it efficiently. Some of that extra calcium may even end up where you do not want it, contributing to stiffness in blood vessels instead of strength in your spine. This is why some dairy habits backfire. When you choose low-fat, sugar-heavy, or highly processed dairy, you often remove the natural fat that helps you absorb vitamins, and you add ingredients that increase inflammation or disturb your mineral balance. You may see the word calcium on the label, but without its partners, that number does not tell the full story. To truly protect your bones, we need to look not just at how much calcium is in a food, but at whether that food helps your body absorb, direct, and hold on to it. A helpful way to think about this is to imagine a building crew arriving at a work site. Calcium is the raw stone. Vitamin D, vitamin K2, magnesium, and protein are the workers, tools, and blueprints. If you deliver piles of stone but no workers or plans, the structure does not rise. Your bones face the same challenge without their helpers. Rethinking low-fat and skim milk. Now let us look closely at the first dairy habit that seems healthy but often works against aging bones, low-fat and skim milk. For decades, many of us were told that the smart choice was to strip fat out of milk. You got fewer calories, less cholesterol, and the same calcium. It sounded perfect, but your body does not treat that thin white liquid the way the label suggests. Vitamins A, D, E, and K are fat-soluble. That means they need fat present in a meal in order to be absorbed through the wall of your gut. Vitamin D is especially important for bone health because it controls how much calcium your intestines can move into the bloodstream. When you drink a glass of very low-fat or fat-free milk all by itself, there may not be enough fat in that meal to help vitamin D do its job, even if the carton says it is fortified. The calcium is there, but the key that unlocks it is weak. Manufacturers also know that skim milk on its own can taste watery and unsatisfying. To make it more appealing, they often add milk powders, stabilizers, and sometimes extra sugar. Those additions change how the milk behaves inside your body. Sugar can increase inflammation and make you lose more calcium through urine. Extra processing can create compounds that your system must work harder to manage. In an older body, that extra burden matters. For many people over 60, a better approach is less quantity and more quality. A smaller glass of whole milk taken with a meal that includes some fat, like olive oil, nuts, or eggs, can be more effective than several large glasses of skim milk scattered through the day. The natural fat in whole milk helps you feel satisfied, helps you absorb fat-soluble vitamins, and may reduce the temptation to reach for sugary snacks later. You are not required to drink milk at all, but if you choose it, choosing a richer, more natural version in modest amounts often supports your skeleton better than chasing calcium through low-fat marketing claims. If you are worried about cholesterol or heart health, remember that whole milk does not have to appear in large quantities to be useful. You might choose to use a splash in coffee, a small glass with a meal, or a little in cooking, rather than several tall glasses a day. The rest of your plate can still focus on vegetables, beans, whole grains, and healthy fats. If cow milk does not agree with you, fortified non-dairy milks made from soy or oats can also play a role, especially when you choose versions without added sugar and with added calcium and vitamin D. The key is to look beyond the words low fat on the carton and ask a better question. Will this version of milk actually help my body absorb and use the calcium it contains, or is it mostly a comforting habit from old advice? Processed cheese versus real cheese. The next dairy trap for aging bones is processed cheese products. It is important to separate these from real, traditionally made cheese. Real cheese is created from milk, cultures, and salt, then allowed to age. The texture and flavor change naturally over time. Processed cheese products, on the other hand, start with some cheese, but then add milk solids, vegetable oils, emulsifiers, preservatives, artificial colors, and a group of additives called phosphate salts. Inside your body, calcium and phosphorus must stay in a delicate balance. Ideally, their levels are similar, or calcium is slightly higher. When your diet is flooded with added phosphates from processed foods, that balance is disturbed. Your bloodstream ends up with more phosphorus than your system can easily handle. To protect your heart and other tissues, your body pulls calcium out of your bones to dilute and balance the extra phosphorus. That process is called bone resorption. Over time, it quietly hollows out your skeleton, even if you think you are eating plenty of calcium. Processed cheese slices, cheese spreads, cheese dips, and shelf-stable cheese products are often very high in these phosphate additives. They are also loaded with sodium. High sodium intake makes you lose more calcium in your urine. That means you are not only drawing calcium out of bone to restore mineral balance, you are also flushing more of it away. The label may proudly list calcium per slice, but the net effect on bone strength can still be negative. Real cheese behaves differently. Aged cheeses like cheddar, parmesan, or similar traditional varieties contain calcium in a more natural matrix, along with protein and, in many cases, vitamin K2. Vitamin K2 helps send calcium into bones and keeps it out of arteries. Because real cheese has a stronger flavor, you may feel satisfied with a smaller amount. A thin slice of aged cheese crumbled over a salad or melted on a piece of whole grain toast can contribute to bone health when used mindfully. The key is to move away from plastic-wrapped slices and squeezable cheese sauces and back towards small amounts of genuine cheese as part of a balanced meal. The hidden cost of sweetened yogurt has a reputation as a health food, especially for digestion and bones. And plain yogurt with live cultures really can be a valuable part of a bone-friendly diet. It offers protein, calcium, and beneficial bacteria that support your gut. But the flavored low-fat yogurts that fill most supermarket shelves tell a different story once you turn the package around. To make low-fat yogurt taste rich and appealing, manufacturers usually add sugar, fruit syrup, artificial flavors, and thickeners. A small tub can easily contain as much sugar as a dessert. When you eat that yogurt, you are not only taking in calcium and protein, you are also sending a surge of sugar into your bloodstream. Over time, a high sugar pattern increases general inflammation in your body and pushes your internal environment toward acidity. Your body is extremely sensitive to changes in blood acidity. To keep things in a safe range, it uses alkaline minerals, including calcium, as buffers. If your meals and snacks create more acid than your blood can handle easily, your system may pull calcium out of your bones to neutralize it. In the short term, this helps keep you alive. In the long term, it thins the skeleton. On top of that, sugar increases calcium loss through urine, so more of the calcium you eat leaves your body unused. There is also the question of probiotics. Not every flavored yogurt delivers strong, active cultures by the time you eat it. Some are heat-treated or stored so long that the beneficial bacteria decline. In that case, you get the sugar and thickeners without the digestive support that was supposed to be the main benefit. Instead of relying on these sweetened cups, you can switch to plain, full-fat yogurt or kefir and flavor it yourself. A small handful of fresh berries, a slice of banana, or a teaspoon of honey is usually enough to make it enjoyable without overwhelming your system with sugar. In this way, yogurt returns to its proper role, a gentle support for bones and digestion rather than a disguised dessert. Building a truly bone-smart plate. If some of the dairy products you trusted are not as helpful as you thought, it can be easy to feel lost or even a little betrayed. The good news is that your bones do not rely on dairy alone. In fact, they are often happiest when calcium and its partner nutrients arrive from several directions at once. Think of your plate as a team of builders rather than a single star player. Dark leafy greens such as kale, collards, bok choy, and turnip greens provide calcium, along with magnesium and vitamin K. When they are cooked gently with a little olive oil, the fat helps you absorb fat-soluble vitamins, and the greens become easier to digest. Canned fish with soft edible bones, like sardines or salmon packed with bones, bring ready-made calcium and vitamin D together, along with protein and omega-3 fats. Tofu prepared with calcium-rich brine, sesame seeds, almonds, and tahini all contribute additional calcium and minerals. Protein is another pillar. Your bones are built on a flexible collagen framework made from amino acids. Without enough protein, minerals have nothing strong to cling to. After 60, many people need more protein than they realize, spread evenly through the day. Eggs, beans, lentils, nuts, seeds, fish, poultry, and fermented dairy like yogurt or kefir can all help. The goal is not a huge steak at night and little else. The goal is 20 to 30 grams of protein at each main meal, enough to keep your skeleton and muscles supplied. Do not forget healthy fats. Extra virgin olive oil, avocado, nuts, and seeds help you absorb vitamins A, D, E, and K and reduce inflammation, which can otherwise speed bone breakdown. When you combine these foods on your plate, something powerful happens. Calcium arrives alongside its helpers, your digestion is supported, and your bones receive a clearer signal to keep what they have and slowly rebuild what has been lost. Fortified non-dairy milks can also join the team, especially for people who do not tolerate lactose. When you choose these, look for options with added calcium and vitamin D, minimal added sugar, and simple ingredient lists. A glass of fortified soy milk with a meal that includes greens and beans can deliver calcium in a form your body knows what to do with. Herbs and spices also play a supporting role. Garlic, turmeric, ginger, and many others help keep inflammation lower, which allows your bone-building cells to work with less interference. When you look at your plate and see color, variety, and enough protein, you can be more confident that you are feeding not just your appetite, but the deep structure of your body. Lifestyle habits that tell your bones to stay strong. Food is a major part of bone health, but it is not the only language your skeleton understands. Your bones listen closely to how you move, how you rest, and even how much daylight touches your skin. To keep them strong after 60, it helps to send a consistent message from every direction. Movement is one of the most important signals. Bones respond best to weight-bearing and resistance activities, the kinds of movements where you are working gently against gravity. This can be as simple as walking, climbing stairs, practicing sit to stand from a chair, or using light hand weights or resistance bands. You do not need long, punishing workouts. 10 to 20 minutes most days, focused on standing, stepping, and lifting in a safe way, is enough to remind your skeleton that it is still needed. Sunlight is another quiet partner. When bare skin meets moderate sun, your body produces vitamin D, which then helps you absorb calcium from food. Short daily sessions, adjusted for your skin type and climate, can add up over time. If you live in a place with little sun, or you cover up for medical reasons, it is worth asking your healthcare provider about checking your vitamin D level and whether a supplement might help, especially if you have low bone density. Sleep and stress also play roles. During deep sleep, your body releases hormones that support bone repair and muscle growth. Chronic stress, on the other hand, raises cortisol, a hormone that can increase bone breakdown when it stays high for too long. Creating a simple evening routine, turning off bright screens before bed, and using gentle relaxation practices can support better rest and healthier bones. Finally, certain medications affect how your body handles calcium and vitamin D. Bringing all your pills and supplements to your doctor or pharmacist and asking specifically how they impact bone can help you avoid combinations that quietly weaken your skeleton. Balance and posture exercises add another dimension. Simple practices such as standing on one leg near a counter for support, gently shifting weight from foot to foot, or practicing slow heel-to-toe walking along a hallway help your nervous system coordinate muscles and joints. Better balance means fewer falls, and fewer falls mean fewer chances for fragile bones to break. Even breathing matters. Slow, steady breathing can calm your nervous system and lower stress hormones that would otherwise nudge your body toward breaking down bone faster. None of these habits have to be dramatic. Taken together, they create an environment inside you where strong bones make sense. A simple day that quietly protects your bones. Knowing all of this is useful, but your bones only respond when knowledge becomes routine. So let us imagine a simple, realistic day that quietly supports your skeleton instead of draining it. You do not need perfection. You need a pattern your body can count on. In the morning, you wake and drink a glass of water. Breakfast might be a boiled or scrambled egg, a slice of whole grain toast with a thin layer of real butter or olive oil, and a small bowl of plain Greek yogurt topped with berries and a sprinkle of ground seeds. If you enjoy dairy milk, you might have a small glass of whole milk with this meal rather than sipping skim milk all day. After eating, you take a short walk through your home or down the street, sending that first message of movement to your bones. At midday, instead of a sandwich packed with processed cheese slices, you choose a bowl of vegetable and bean soup, plus a salad of leafy greens dressed with olive oil and lemon. On top, you add sardines or another fish with soft bones and a small scattering of real grated cheese. Here, calcium arrives from several foods, supported by vitamins, minerals, and protein. Later, if you need a snack, you reach for a handful of almonds and a piece of fruit, or a spoon of plain yogurt with cinnamon, rather than a sweetened yogurt cup. In the evening, dinner centers on a piece of fish, tofu, or chicken, a serving of dark greens, steamed or sautéed with olive oil, and perhaps a small baked sweet potato. If you want a treat, you cut a thin slice of real cheese or enjoy a few spoonfuls of yogurt with fruit instead of dessert. Afterward, a gentle walk and a relaxing bedtime routine prepare your body for deep sleep when much of the repair work inside your bones happens. Over days and weeks, this kind of pattern becomes a quiet, steady message to your skeleton. The message is simple. You are still needed. Stay strong. Days will not always go perfectly. There will be times when you eat something processed, skip a walk, or fall back on old habits. That is normal. What matters for your bones is not any single meal, but the pattern over weeks and months. If most days include some real, minimally processed foods, some movement, some rest, and more thoughtful dairy choices, your skeleton will feel that shift. Every grocery list, every breakfast, every short walk becomes a small vote in favor of staying mobile and independent for as long as possible. For now, try treating this as a personal experiment rather than a long list of rules. For the next 7 days, choose just one dairy swap and one bone-friendly habit to practice. Maybe you replace skim milk with a glass of whole milk at breakfast and trade flavored yogurt cups for plain yogurt with your own fruit. Or you decide to stop buying processed cheese slices and keep a block of real cheese and a bag of leafy greens in your refrigerator instead. Pay attention to how steady you feel getting out of a chair, how confident you are on the stairs, and how your body responds. If you would like science-based guidance designed for people over 60, not for teenagers in a gym, consider subscribing so you do not miss the next video. In the comments, share which change you will start with this week with us.